Hello, everyone, and welcome to Table Reads here on ScriptCamp. I am your host, Gray. And for any of you who are new to this event, we read through scripts submitted by our members and then give them feedback. If you choose to participate in these readings by way of voicing a character, reading direction, or giving feedback, I will grant you script coins. Script coins are a currency here on the server. You can use them to buy various merch, and if you have 100, a very own full-length reading of your feature or TV pilot at this event. So do keep that in mind. I have great breath control, definitely top tier. But yeah, let's just get right into it. Sean, you already gave us some cool background on your script here. I'll just launch into the description. We have O Fortuna by Sean. This is a stage play short. Logline is, in the sleepy medieval town of Ancato, two neighbors live in mutual hatred. Now the town's festival approaches, and they both hope to use it to rid themselves of the other. Looking for just general feedback. Content warning for referenced sexual harassment and strong language. Anything to add before we start, Sean? I know you just pretty much went through the whole rigmarole before we start recording.
No, just glad to hear it, and looking forward to how you all receive it.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, also there was some confusion about casting parts. For the longest time, I thought that this was for an event outside the server, and that's why I started looking for people to cast for these parts, but no, it's for this event. And at this event, we just do it off the cuff. But yeah, I'm going to say the names. What was that?
So, Sean had some requests for the casting. I don't know if you see in the Table Reads channel.
Oh, okay. That's what that was. Thank you.
Yes, I did have some people step forward. So for Keirukos, a hapless town herald, I was going to choose Terry. Because he said he was interested in the part. Terry, if you would sound off. Terry?
Are you there?
Trying to find my mute, sorry. Yeah, I'm here. You said, Keirukos.
Yeah. And then
all we need is Byton, right?
Yes, all we need to cast is Byton. I think Pygmalion, I said that I would go ahead and do that because it is a very long, wordy part. And then we only need to cast Byton. Veer is Lasagna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hello.
And you're sure you didn't want me to do Pygmalion? We try to usually
you can go ahead and be Pygmalion. Just give it your broadest Zero Mostel performance. Just be as big as possible, and you'll be good. And if you can handle tongue twisters a little bit. Byton's the only one to cast. What's funny about this one is that everybody wanted to be him. And then suddenly there were some problems that happened regarding the home situation of the person who wanted to be them. And then the part was vacated. Can anyone give a really good Jason Statham impression? Or at least actually a really bad Jason Statham impression?
Oh, I'm perfect.
All right, okay. Then you're Byton if you want to.
Sure.
All right. There we go. That's it.
Sounds good. Let's see. And I usually do direction, but since I'm voicing someone, Nacho, do you think you could do? Oh, you know what?
I'm happy to, if you want me to.
Yeah. Joel, could you do direction then?
Yeah. That works for me.
So Nacho will do direction?
I think I will. Just because I know Nacho gives better feedback when I can. But he gives better feedback when he's not reading.
Yeah, no worries. All right. Let's go.
Woo. Just drawing up our list here to put in table reads info. Okay. Yes. There's our cast list. Everyone get O Fortuna Final downloaded, or you can simply click on PDF stream to see the script. And yeah. Fire when ready, Joel.
O Fortuna, written by Sean Weeks. Scene 1.
Festival, O townsmen, Bacchus descends on Encanto with tomorrow's night. Festival.
I think that's my bit. Sorry, I'm not used to this format. Morning. Lights up on Pygmalion's chambers. Pygmalion, lying on the chase lounge, awakes. He's hungover.
My body meets the morn, hard with pain. For which reason I forget. Wine, but women as well? Did I partake of the pipe? There is no vice on earth my title cannot bring to me. So I am left to guess last night's culprit. Look toward Byton's room. Good morning, Encanto. Good morn to your mountains, to your markets and their merchants. Your lord bids good morning to all, save that wretched hovel humping my palace like a dog. I'd move if I didn't love the view, evict you if I had the time. Mine must be the only palace in the world with such squalor as a neighbor. Squalor beyond that, which peasants can usually muster. Squalor like a supernatural force. I'd be surprised if its owner doesn't have a special writ from hell.
Lights up on Byton's room. Byton sits at his desk and fidgets with a coin.
Mine must be the only home in the world with such a royal prick for a neighbor. Yet he's a tireless prick. I give him that. 2 hours with this harlot screaming bloody murder. A tireless prick.
My neighbor's a villain, I believe. I miss nothing from these high walls. Live men cross this threshold and do not come out. A horrendous loss of life, if true, and an even more horrendous loss in taxes.
Even with the wenching, the nights, the vomit, which falls from balconies, most people think it's great smacking pigeon droppings.
We have to do this together. You wouldn't
It wouldn't be so bad if you weren't
so insufferably poor.
Lights up on the boulevard. Kairiku's strolls along it, intermittently pausing to read from some papers.
Festival. Tomorrow night is festival.
Festival. Indeed, I quite forgot. To be fair, how could I not?
Festival. Posh time of year. I bet that rich fellow can't tell the difference between this or any time of year.
Festival.
Every night's a festival for me.
Byton walks out onto the boulevard.
But there's something about festival. Something I'm forgetting. Wait!
Pygmalion dashes out onto the boulevard.
Morning, Kay.
Harold, tell me.
Excuse me, but I was saying first.
Not saying much, as I recall.
I was...
If you please... Wait, no. Sorry.
If you please.
If you please, shut your mouth on me.
I can't very well shut my mouth and tell you anything.
You are roboting hard. Can you just speak out there? Hang on, is your, yeah. You kind of roboted there. Is your connection all right?
Yeah, it should be okay. I didn't know there was any issues.
Okay, I'll continue.
Again.
Do you want me to do the line again?
Yeah, that would be good.
Friend Baton, I can't very well shut my mouth and tell you anything.
Harold, you'll answer me or I'll see you never get a cent from heraldry again. You'll be so poor.
He won't be able to pay your taxes.
Peace, both of you. I beg you. Lord Pygmalion, to understand, not even you could be so heartless as to take my pay for simple common sense. The first two acts must be answered first. Friend Baton,
Your connection is like... Is anyone else here Terry roboting?
Everyone's
just
roboting.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone's roboting.
I think it's Discord's end, not ours.
Okay.
There's no one in particular.
Huh.
now I heard robotic.
Yeah.
We take a few minutes break and see if it fixes, or can everyone?
Yeah, that might
I
be a
guess
good
that's what
idea.
we can do is take a couple minutes break.
Great, sounds good. I don't know. Am I a robot?
Yes.
Yeah, you're a robot.
Everybody sounded like that.
I stole all the connection. The Discord cooperation.
I thought it was my internet.
I don't
I'm
know
gonna
what
disconnect. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
I can hear
Okay.
you.
Hello.
Everyone, wait, am I roboting? Should I leave?
No.
No, I think you're good, Jill.
No, you're good.
Robot now.
The Great Exodus worked.
Lord. Okay.
Oh, you guys, I'm going to check what we do. Come on, Shadow.
Where did
we'll
Terry
fix it in
go?
post.
Yeah.
Fix in post.
I'll edit all of this. It'll be fine. It'll come out it'll be fixed in post.
We need Terry to come back though. Oh well. Not
Hello?
sure, could you?
Gray,
Take it up.
Can you hear me?
Gray, do you mind if I take over Pygmalion, actually?
Yeah, go ahead.
Not read.
Yeah,
I think,
okay, all right.
You shouldn't be reading your own script.
Yeah, that's what I think too. We asked that the writers don't read their own script.
Oh, okay, all right.
Can I do it?
Does that sound good, Sean? If
Sure.
Dan does it? Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
Are you gonna do direction again, Gray? Who's gonna
Joel, do you
direction?
want me to take over direction?
I'm happy to.
Okay, then yeah, you can.
Cool.
Yeah, you can continue with the direction then. And I think, yeah, we all understand by now, but I think the italics are the direction. And Heated, sorry if I was confusing, but like the side-by-side text, like we say at the same time. I might have just been cutting out though and didn't hear you.
No, yeah, it's cool. I'm just waiting for you. I usually like to follow the other person.
Is
Sorry.
that trying to sing happy birthday with you?
But wait, can you guys hear me? Am I?
Yeah,
I can
Am I
hear you.
robot?
Heated.
Cool.
We're all having technical difficulties.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
Discord, I think. But I think
Oh.
it sounds like we're all back to normal.
Yeah. So we were. Let's just start at the top of page 3. And everything's the same, but Dan, please take over as Pygmalion.
Also, you need a Kairukos.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, was there an issue that happened with Terry?
He's not returned. Joel tagged him, but I still don't see him. Return to your Pokeball. Nacho, do you think you could voice K for the moment? K Rukos?
Sure.
All right. So yeah, it's just Joel doing direction. Let's see. Judea doing Veer. Nacho is K. Dan is Pygmalion, and Heated is Baton. All right, but yeah, page 3. Nacho, fire when ready.
Friend Biton, I can't very well shut my mouth and tell you anything.
Herald, you'll answer me, or I'll see you never get a cent from heraldry again. You'll be so poor
that he won't be able to pay your taxes.
Peace, both of you. I beg you, Lord Pygmalion, to understand. Not even you, I think, could be so heartless as to take my pay for simple common sense. The first who asked must be answered first. Friend Biton, speak.
I can't believe this.
When's festival?
Easily answered. Full night, friend Biton. When only torches' flame can pierce the dark.
Then I'll have time for business.
Fortune to your business, then.
Fortune and me? I hope not. She's a daughter of virtue, and I want no part of that fickle bitch. Thank you, Kay, and good day.
Right and exits.
Gary.
Hey, I just got back. I'm sorry.
That man makes my skin rise, is your line. Can you see my stream?
I can.
Okay. That man, right and exits.
That man makes my skin rise.
I won't forget your disrespect.
I can handle that. Disrespect towards you will at least leave my limbs intact.
Don't misjudge me.
And there goes the honest business of heraldry. We must often guess which customer is like to bust our balls. Many a come once cried news, because you cannot bust the balls of ballless men. I regret something, or sometimes, that I kept mine.
I sent couriers a while ago to gentlemen and ladies. Any signs of them?
Among the country folk pouring in the festival, a few finer folk appeared.
By what signs? Can you be sure?
Hard to miss. These men mistook some village huts for privy holes, and their shit smelled finer than our suppers.
Huh? That's no mistake. 'Tis all the rage round Lewis Court.
Which Lewis?
We're on to the sixth one, I wager.
I like him better than the fourth. Or was that the third? Shame, syphilis stopped him short. Or was that the first?
No matter first, second, or third. How I envy where they've been. Bring them to me. They'll stay here for the festival.
Yes, Lord Pygmalion. He loves me. He loves me not.
Keiruko's exits. Pygmalion returns to his chambers. Crossfade to chambers.
Finally, the king's best come to my wasteland, to my exile. They'll acknowledge my letters. Ancato leers at me daily. Ancato full of its peasants, full of its broody servile servants, and to put me next to the worst of the lot. To be exiled is bad enough, but to be exiled here, to live with these heathens, to live away from my king, my pious, lovely, holy, generous, rich king? And on what grounds? Maybe I lightened the treasury somewhat, but that was for the public good. I am the most outspoken patron of the culinary arts, the vineyards, and certain small ladies' establishments, which I feel receive undue public censure, which could not possibly thrive without my finances. And the Duchess? I laugh at her allegations. She is merely a woman jealous of youth and the affection her dear daughter won from me. That old hussy obviously cowed her seed up my paramour into slander against me as expected, but I am still shocked that the judge believed the charges against me and refused the bribe. The idea that a robust, life specimen of manhood like me would need to resort to force is both ludicrous and absurd. I shall be resplendent tomorrow night, and there will be a triumphant return. The Duchess will gnash her teeth like Potiphar's wife.
Festival.
Blackout. Scene 2. Lights up on Byton's room. Byton's Jews at his desk, once again fidgeting with his coin.
Time was, the thuggery racket used to turn up money in every corner. Now I find every corner taxed. We're slavies to slobby Pygmalion's belly. What am I to do when my men come back from collections with nothing but sweat on their palms? I can't break a leg for every deadbeat, which is my usual policy. Or I can't be hopping on one foot and I'd still be out of money. So what's an enterprise such as mine to do? How would you strong arm without strong arming? It's almost enough to push a man to suicide or, God forbid, honest work.
Veer enters, a sack over his back. Byton runs over to him, overjoyed.
You're here, lad. I've no idea what you've no idea what dark thoughts have seized me now.
You've been drinking, boss? You get in a humor when you drink. A modulan humor, Kay called it once.
I'm not drunk, though a stiff one wouldn't be amiss. Isn't there a right in a man fighting his own demons? But why explain that to you? Spill the booty on the table there, and let's count it properly.
Boss, I want to preface this.
No prefacing, boy. Make it a postface and count it out.
I think I have to say...
It's a bit low, eh? Don't worry about it. Times are tough. I know. And shaking down folks has gotten tougher.
That's not it.
Whatever faces we need to add, we can add after it's on the table. Yeah?
Veer dumps 3 books out on the table.
What do you take me for? A Latnier?
Kay's right, boss. You do get a bit maudlin.
I'm not drunk, you legless mule.
As I was about to give preface.
We can't read.
Veer brandishes one of the books on the table.
That's what this one's for, boss. How to read. Says the man who gives them to me.
Veer?
Yes, boss?
I have a postface to add.
Yes, boss.
Don't I need to know how to read, how to read?
Yes, boss.
Byton knocks the book from Veer's hand.
Fuck off.
Veer starts to leave. Byton grabs his ear.
I said fuck off, not piss off.
They seem much the same, sir.
Not to a master of the form. Stay and let me think. Go play cards with an ear or something.
Byton points at the skeleton. Veer trots over to it and starts playing two-handed go fish.
That old Rattlebone's really the omen of this whole gang, ain't he? We used to have 2 thieves a while back. Veer was one of them. Veer and Anir was thick in more ways than one. And then Anir up and dies of plague. Then Veer was near death with lackady loneliness, so I did what anybody would do. A little grave digging. Poor Veer. I don't even think he knows Anir is dead.
You know, Anir, I don't even think the boss knows you're dead.
And here's me, paying the gravekeeper to look the other way, suffering from a bleeding heart. Whose heart bleeds for me, eh? The tax collectors suck him dry before we get there. And all of that goes straight to Pygmalion's palace. And for every man who doesn't shekel out shekels, I'm the one who comes out looking weaker. He's not a man of his word, they say. He didn't crack my bones, they say. Then they think they can get off me altogether. Meanwhile, my wages for living got the shrinks. This is all I got left.
Barton slams a heavy sack on the desk.
I'm almost penniless. How's a man to live? How's my boy to live? He's not got his cut in ages. Sometimes I wonder why he stays on. Sometimes.
He holds the sack to his chest.
Unless he thinks I'm soft too. And he's just waiting to stick me and take it all. Talks to himself. Whispers with cards. Secret meetings with Anur. I bet they're sharpening their tongues against me right now.
No queens. Go fish.
The bastard.
Festival tonight. Food to be provided by Southern Import from Phillips. Free drink to be provided by, let's see.
Philip. That one tried to pay me with bad fruit. Broke his legs.
Drink to be provided by Vintier Anthony. These are to be available to the public and set out before the pavilion, which only those of royal blood may enter.
Legs already broken. Broke his wife's legs. I can't think on it now, on how rough and tumble I was. How I used to be a giant. I'll get raging drunk tonight, and maybe I'll wake up rich tomorrow.
Festival.
Blackout. Scene 3. Lights up on Pygmalion chambers. Night of that day. Pygmalion chambers are more cluttered. A wineskin and a pinioned party hat lie open on the chase lounge. Pygmalion enters through the double door, window then clutching his side. He locks the door. Special effects, carnival noises.
My God, it's a flame! Where's that wineskin?
Pygmalion searches for the wineskin, finds it, takes a swig, and then stuffs it in his pants to cover the stitch in his side.
Wine, miraculous stuff, even if just as a balm to distress. And I am very distressed.
Lights up on Byton's room, where Byton stands.
The bastard ruined me.
Bastard ruined me.
And festival whirls on still. Yes.
Veer's still out there, dancing, getting his weenie squeezed by the big titty butcher's whelp. But I've lost my face, and he knows it.
Oh, yes.
He's out there waiting for an answer.
So
he's there, out there waiting for answer.
Fine, it was at first. Veer and me took to our cups like pigs to mud. There was a cart pull race. I got first, not fairly, by God. A lad and I were neck and neck, and I looked him a look to shrivel his cock. He pulled a muscle soon after.
Matters were in hand in the beginning. We had our place above the rabble, a pavilion erected to shield us. Believing this enough, I dismissed my guards to the revel.
Then we ran out of drink. More was coming, but I couldn't wait.
I
got into the tent.
My tent! Cutting the proud and regal figure.
He was there, that priggish ass.
He swaggered in, the shaggy savage.
I slipped in like a shade.
His cheeks beat red, the drunken louse.
If my clothes had been nicer, I'd have been like anyone there.
Tipping casks, ribald jests, insults against the ladies, flipping up gowns, and fatuous grin on his dirty face.
What a lovely time before he stepped in.
The two recreate the moment, turning to address each other.
I bid you leave before I force it.
As if I'd let you.
You can't lay your hatred down for one night.
We are not all as versed in lying down as you, my lord. I think you just hate happiness in others.
Your happiness offends God as much as me.
I insult God? What evil I do that you've not done, and done just as bad?
By God's law, you stay outside the tent, away from me and mine.
Was it God who chose you, or your gods? And where are they now?
Lend me a hand, someone. Anyone? Any of you?
I got a better idea. Let's give our Lord a whiff of fresh air. Let him see the weather outside his tent.
The two are now in their separate chambers.
No one moved. Not a smidge.
No respect in their eyes.
No fear in their bowels.
Matters are more far gone than I thought.
They're having a laugh here and his butcher girl. I can't take it. I'm a man, and now drag me around.
I can't stay here gilded.
This is war.
War.
A war of blood, Veer.
A war on the party. They want me tamed? I'll teach them better. I gird myself for a war of the senses. Oh, servants, be fleet of foot and hang on my words.
Lights up on Brighton's room. Brighton's in a T-pose. Veer stands next to him.
Be quick on your legs, boy, and nick what I ask. My mess kit.
My basket.
Veer fetches Brighton's items while Pygmalion speaks, and Pygmalion is supplied items from offstage.
My hardtack, boy, if we then up prestige.
Cake and bread, and don't grab the hardtack by mistake.
Papa's helmet.
The helmet Veer brings is far too large for Brighton's head. A party cart wheels in from Pygmalion's side. It has a baguette, a tacky crown, and a feathered chapeau on it.
Papa's favorite hat.
How my patch of helm shines, my boy.
The visor swings down and smacks him in the face. Veer and Brighton struggle to get it open again.
Ooh, shiny.
Armor.
Armor.
A dowdy robe is thrown to Pygmalion. Veer returns to Brighton with armor as ill-fitting as the helmet.
My sword and spear.
My weapon of choice.
My buckler round.
My cheese round.
I steel myself to meet steel.
I steel myself to eat meat.
Let the enemy come.
Blackout on Brighton's room. Karikos enters from the darkened side of the stage. Brighton, Veer, and Karikos hasten to the double door. Pygmalion prepares to exit through the same door. Brighton and Co. pound on it.
What's that? Who's there?
You know who, you fat bastard.
Cruel remark, and most unnecessary.
Honorary members get no say, you little shit.
What do you want?
Your head.
Kay, was that your voice I heard?
This K.
The voice I hear every morning.
We heralds can sound alike to the ear.
Yes, he's here too, and thirsting for blood.
What was your price, you Tarpeian princess? Was it a fixed fee or a share of the spoils?
Neither, my lord.
When have I ever given you cause for hatred?
Omitting the insults, the threats, my use of your personal messenger, your personality.
Omitting these.
I again must value my legs, sir.
Worthy cause. Good health to you and your vengeance.
Good health in fighting for your life, my lord.
Ram on 5, lads.
Barton, Veer, and Karikos start to batter down the door.
I must flee. Servants!
Pygmalion exits and returns after 2 seconds.
They've all fled.
The battering stops.
This doesn't work, boss.
Pygmalion sighs.
What do we do, Kay?
I don't know. Pick the lock?
And how would we do that?
You're the professional criminals.
We usually crack more backs than safe.
By the saints, move over.
Pygmalion runs off again, and again he returns.
I can't leave my things to these barbarians.
He gathers every item in sight. His flight is halted by the chase lounge, which he tries to drag off stage. The door finally is flung wide, and Brighton and Co enter. Pygmalion flings his hands up, and every item clatters to the floor.
Pygmalion, you've been a win on my arse for a long time, and now I'm gonna lance ya.
A horrific metaphor.
I think it has a ring to it, if you ask me.
Shut up. You made me look bad out there, and I'm going to save Postface.
This is more of a preface, boss.
Actually, the expression.
Shut up.
So, this is how I'm going to die. Stabbed by a blackguard in his father's armor.
My father.
Probably served as my father's piss boy.
Brighton lunges at Pygmalion. Veer and Karikos hold him back.
Now, boss, don't get maudlin.
Friend Baton, my lord, I'm sure we can conduct this murder civilized-like.
Legless mule shit. What's a man to do when his dear patter's name?
Brighton struggles free, but his helmet's visor slams shut, and he's temporarily blinded. Veer and Kay tried to help him while they're distracted. Pygmalion checks the wineskin tucked in his robe earlier. He gets an idea.
Enough. Enough prevarication. The Google of gossipy midwives before me couldn't commit petty theft, much less murder. I'm embarrassed for you, Byton. For a man not only tried and tested, but tried and convicted. You now show no spine for this stuff.
Pygmalion seizes Brighton's sword and plunges it into the wineskin in his robe, which is stained with a convincing tinge of red.
Oh, the iron bites deep. Oh, the iron bites deep. Drink my purple blood, O unworthy blade.
Pygmalion falls to the floor and moans hysterically. Brighton, Kay, and Veer rush to his side.
Why, lordship, why?
Is the sword all right?
Shush, you terror. 'Tis a bad omen to stopper a man's word when he's on his deathbed.
Aye, I've heard that too. Worse than breaking a mirror.
I see no beds anywhere.
Why, Lord Pygmalion, why hasten your passing from this world? Is it not a win? Or is not a sin to take your own life?
It matters not, my dear Kay. I'm clearly damned already. My reputation lies a-shambled.
As if he ever cared about that.
The proof is in this very room, my subjects.
And he never cared about that.
Pygmalion moans and convulses. Veer and Karuka shush him.
My subjects are loyal to a thug as to their master. Beloved nurse, whose name eludes me, foretold as much. You will have a sorrowful end, piggy, she said.
She called you Piggy?
Yes, after the first 3 letters of my name.
Of course.
First 3 letters. Why else?
Your meaning escapes me entirely.
Barton puffs out his cheeks and oinks. Veer and Karuka's snigger until Pygmalion gives out his gives out his loudest moan yet. The 3 murderers become solemn again.
What deity have we that I was born with such insatiable lust, encouraged in lust by such inviolable privilege, saddled with the sword of Damocles? I do not pretend to be a priest, but was I evil?
No, my lord, you were not.
Suspicious, Barton touches some of her blood and sniffs it.
Okay.
Was I a demon?
No, you were great.
Oh, no, you were great.
Boys,
Death comes so cruelly. Now I must go join my own, those many who've died. And yet I go in hope that you will welcome me, father, and you, my mother.
boys! Not even Lord Piggy bleeds wine.
Pygmalion seizes a sword and leaps to his feet.
Back, all of you!
He makes for the door.
I'm keeping this.
Pygmalion exits. Something slides into place on the other side. Veer, Karukas, and Barton try the door. They ram it.
He's barred it. But with what?
They ram the door again.
He's barred it with sword. Papa.
One more try should do it then, right, boss? That sword's seen at least 30 years.
It did seem brittle round the hilt.
Veer prepares to ram for a third time, and Barton stops him.
Save your strength, fellows.
He's getting away, boss. He's getting away with your post face.
In all my days crying news from Genoa to Metz, I've never heard of such a thing.
As I figured it, Kay. It's something we folk aren't allowed to have.
Those are many.
Shut up and let me think.
Blackout. Scene 4, next morning. Lights up on Pygmalion's chambers. Barton is sprawled on the chase lounge. Kay, Rukos, and Veer are propped up against the chase lounge. The 3 of them wear finery from Pygmalion's wardrobe. Aeneas' body sits next to the chase lounge with a crown and Barton's cup atop its skull. They wake up. They are hungover.
My poor melon. Good living makes for bad hurting.
Boss, should we have kept away from the larder?
Please, friends, your voices. Rosy-figured dawn plays enough with the mind before pandemonium joins the fray.
How did Aeneas get here?
I don't know. But a window's open.
There was a window?
I wonder where Lord Piggy went.
Maybe to see his beloved nurse.
Bad omened, friend to speak of the dead.
He wasn't. Dead, that is.
Right.
I wonder where the guards are at.
There's a knock at the door. Veer, Barton, and Karuko's groan. Scene 5, same morning. Lights up on Barton's room. The sack, and barrel are gone. Pygmalion sits at table.
I am divested of all save my life. I am stripped bare and cast into a fresh perdition. What is the name of my new home? Katano, someone told me. Looking on it, I feel a pang of longing in my heart for old Encanto. How has it come to this? I am now part of the tiny, provincial. Wait, is that the Duchess? Yes, I recognize that buzzard anywhere. Oi, Duchess! I loved your daughter's lips the most.
A shoe hits Pygmalion in the head from off.
There goes the path of the magnanimous.
He turns the shoe over and a coin tips out onto his palm.
The pap of magnanimous womanhood. Charity. That cow!
Blackout. The end.
Woo! Good job to all our readers. Thank you, Joel, for reading direction for us. Thank you, Sean, for sharing. We're going to move on to the feedback section of the event. Let's see. Maybe we could start from the bottom this time. Zach, do you have any feedback? If you don't want to use your mic, you can always type it out for me to read later. Looks like Zach's typing. Willow, okay, Zach wasn't here the whole way through. That's fine. Willow, did you have any feedback?
Sure. I don't have a whole lot to say. I can't say I've read many stage plays. I can definitely see this being performed on stage, though. And I think that maybe like that might help a bit also with like some of the jokes. There were a couple things that I laughed at that some that landed and some that didn't quite. Yeah, like the discussion about needing to read to learn how to read. That got a chuckle out of me. Some of the others didn't quite land. I don't quite remember what they were, but I can definitely see this being performed, and I can see the actors on the stage. And I thought our voice actors did pretty well. Thank you.
Thanks, Willow. Any feedback from TJ?
I don't really have any on T. I thought were mostly good. But like what Bill said, I don't think they could work on stage, like as intended. So that's all I have.
All right, thanks, TJ. Any feedback from Terry?
Yeah, so I did the performance of Kay. This was the first time I ever read a stage play, and I think you definitely capture that more Shakespearean dialogue, which is very expressive, and it has a good thing. You have a good thing going with that. I would like to. I don't have a whole lot that I can really give advice-wise because I'm so inexperienced with just stage plays as a whole. But I do feel like you have a good sense of you have a good sense of like what the story is, who the characters are, and I can say for the most part I would I think you're doing I think you're on the right path so far. So I appreciate you sharing this and allowing me to perform one of the characters.
Thanks, Terry. Any feedback from Taste of Sorrow?
I think Taste of Sorrow said he's having an asthma attack. So we can't talk about that.
Oh, get well soon, Taste of Sorrow. Seafood. Do you have any feedback? see. Saturn the writer. Seafood says no feedback.
And Saturn's typing.
Yeah. Pollock, any feedback from you? If you do have some that you want to type, I can read it out loud later. Thanks, Terry, for joining. We'll see you next time. Olive's Mom 7. Do you have any feedback? Were you here for the reading, even? Oh, hi. Nice to meet you. Benny, did you have any feedback? Non-Benny. Oh, Benny came in late. Nacho, did you have any feedback?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. This is a lot of fun. I think you have some great, moments. I guess I'm kind of more a fan of like Sophocles plays more than this. Sort of feels a little bit more like, Aristophanes, like kind of just sort of, zany comedy, where sometimes the jokes may be a little bit more important than the plot or the story in the scene. I think that there's definitely like, those kinds of scenes can work. I guess for me, like I found the scenes where it was just a little bit more grounded in, like, Biton's like clear goal of like trying to break into Pygmalion's room or to kill him, and Pygmalion sort of like pretending to die with the wineskin. Like that, it just felt like that kind of grounded it so that the jokes and the scenes just worked a lot more for me. Like I could sort of get into the story a little bit more. And I like the whole concept. I mean, just like two neighbors that sort of like hate each other. I think this is really the perfect kind of, platform for this kind of story. Lots of things I really enjoyed. I guess the ending was a little bit unclear to me. Like I didn't quite understand why, Bidun just sort of, potentially gave up or whatever at the end and let Pygmalion, like have this moment. I didn't quite understand like sort of what's going on at the very end, the final scene 5. But really a lot of cool stuff here. I guess I would just kind of maybe go back and look a little bit at some of the scenes, like with the, the announcement of the festival, and I think the scene after that, there was a little bit less of like a narrative thread, like from the beginning to the end, a little bit more, like just lots of really cool dialogue that I enjoyed. I guess I would try to think about, some of the scenes were stronger when like Pygmalion or Bidhun was like actively like scheming. Those are the scenes that I kind of enjoyed the most. But this is really cool. Yeah. And I could definitely see this performed as well on the stage. So yeah, look forward to reading more.
Thank you, Nacho. Saturn the writer says, I wasn't here for the whole thing myself, so I was in and out. But I can say this, I started out acting, so I'm more familiar with the format, but I thought for the most part the dialogue was great. You could really define the characters individually, so it was nice to have a bit of contrast between the two. However, this is more on my end and no idea about medieval history, but the dialect at times did take me out of the story from what I heard. It felt quite modernized, which is okay, but the abundance of swearing in some sections and some scenes. One line I remember was when a character's line was something along the lines of, I said, fuck off, not piss off. It was things like that which took me out of the story at times. But again, take that with a grain of salt, since I am not familiar with that type of dialect. But if you're going for a more Shakespearean style, definitely avoid those. But yeah, because I wasn't here for too long, I can't comment too much on the story. Thank you, seventh writer. Morgana, did you have any feedback?
This is not something that I know a lot about. I've read Shakespeare as like in high school. But this is, I guess, going for a more Greek thing. And that is, I can't really review it because I'm not familiar enough. So I'll just pass.
Thanks, Morgana. Merrickson, were you for the reading?
Yes, I was. Thank you for not noticing me here.
Sorry.
Okay.
Please give me feedback.
I absolutely love the dialogue in this. Very Shakespearean. I think most of it was very well put together. I do agree with what was it Saturn with what Saturn the writer said. How some parts of it felt like maybe you hadn't edited it or something, because some of it did feel kind of peculiarly modern. It felt like, oh, the rest of this sounds very Shakespearean. Why were these ones kind of like just modernized writing, modernized dialogue? I also kind of agree with Nacho. There's an element of farce, and I was kind of enjoying that. Like the jokes were more important to me, I guess. Not important, but I mean, like, the jokes felt more integral to the piece than the actual, I guess, story arc and logic. So yeah, I want to say that, and it definitely has a very theatrical feeling. Theatrical meaning, not cinematic theater. Yeah, I think that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Trying to think of. It escaped me. I'm sorry, but that's all.
Thanks, Merrickson. League, any feedback from you?
I don't have much to say. I really enjoyed listening to this piece. I thought that it was really well written, and the like it kept me engaged with it, which is honestly normally hard to do. So good job on that. I was a little confused at first by the ending, but then the more I thought about it, like the funnier it became. So I think that was also pretty good too. Like the fact that they just gave up and then he's just kind of like there. Yeah, but thumbs up.
Thank you, League. Judea, our one and only Veer. Do you have
Hello.
any feedback?
I do. I'm not familiar with this like a lot of people here, but I'm going to try to give feedback. I'm going to do my best from what I understood. I did really enjoy it, and I thought that the dialogue and the banter, I really loved the banter. That was really fun. And all this Shakespearean talk I loved it. And like it was pretty easy to understand that instead of me just being lost and being like, what are all these fucking words I don't know? So I'm kind of okay with it being a little modernized because it's just pretty understandable and also adds to the comedy for me. But there was like the ending in which I didn't understand it too well because I might have missed something, but maybe it's something to look out for. Sometimes I was a little unclear about the plot, like what was going on in the story. Like things did happen, I guess, but like I didn't really understand what happened at the end, which was like they were at the festival, I think. Baiton was drunk, Baton was drunk, and all this stuff happened, and then suddenly they were fighting, and then I was like very confused that they were fighting. I didn't really know how that really happened, and they needed to like unlock something. I just got a little lost near the end there, a little lost in the sauce. And then for the action lines, there were like some points where words were repeated many times, and I suppose that's like a nitpick of mine. a bit of a nitpick, like Chase Lounge being repeated 3 times. Like they lay on over the Chase Lounge, they sit in the Chase Lounge, or something like that. It was a bit, just some action lines sounded a bit awkward, but I don't think it's too big of a deal. Overall, I enjoyed listening to it, and I think this would be really good as a play. So I think you did a great job, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Jaya. See, Joel, did you have any feedback?
Yeah, like many people here, I don't have a lot of experience with stage plays. I'm not sure how much I have to add actually beyond what other people have said. But I enjoyed it. It made me laugh a couple times, and yeah, I feel like I'm missing a lot of information. So I'm not entirely sure what's happening. I feel like I don't have enough. What's the word? Knowledge, is that a word? I don't have enough knowledge about this genre and this format to give any helpful feedback, unfortunately. But I enjoyed it, which is the important thing.
Joel, Heated, loved your Bitten, by the way. Do you have any feedback?
Yeah, this was fun to read. I really liked the dialogue. You can see that the writer was having fun with it. It's kind of like people were saying it's kind of funny, right? But it's serious. It kind of felt like a Shakespearean Guy Ritchie film, with all the characters just like bouncing off each other. There was a pretty good moment, and I feel like in a stage play you also have to work in like blocking and how it would literally look on the stage. And one part that really shone for me was I guess Python and Pygmalion are talking, and then the two recreate the moment, turning to address each other, and that's supposed to be a flashback to when they were at the party. But and I for some reason that really stood out for me, just in the way that it was used like that. Yeah, it was funny. Like I said, the dialogue is intimidating at points, but you can see that you had a lot of fun. I guess story-wise, I couldn't really feel the goal too much of like where this is gonna go. But you're along for the ride with this one, and but it can feel sometimes a bit muddled. Like it's kind of like it's a lot of talking, and it's good, but it can be a bit much. Or at least I wish we could just have a bit more danger. I know that they're trying to break into the place and all this, but the part where it's like he's dying, but he keeps monologuing. I don't know. I just wish it could have been paced a bit. There was just some more pressure. But other than that, I can feel that you had a lot of fun with it. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you. Heated. Dan, did you have any feedback?
Yes, I do. It was fun. While yes, it was fun to go back to some roots. Yes, yes, be shocked. I used to do theater and stage and actually performance. And now I'm kind of like one of those, I feel like I'm on a relapse since I put that behind me many years ago. But I will judge the story because I feel like it's very meandersomely slow. Because, well, yeah, I think that what Merrick's saying about there being too many monologues. For after all, the monologues are just like, I hate my life, I hate my neighbor, I hate everything. Nothing really happens in the scene. And then it's like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. And then you think, okay, there's no arc. There's kind of just, I hate my neighbor, I'm going to kill him. And then we try to kill him. And we stop trying to kill him. And then his life is ruined. And now he's paupered? I don't know. There's also the matter of the tone being a little all over the place. It's like, oh, yeah, oh, and then first there's all these big eruditious words that most people don't know, but I do. And there's all kinds of, and that's fun. But then you have words that people then start, and then there are a few modernisms that just slip right through the cracks. as fun as a line like I said, piss off, not fuck off is, it reads a little too modern. There was a couple of others where people say yeah and stuff, and I go like, oh, so this is a modernistic view coming out of Boston or something. Cool. But then it didn't show up much again for the many pages. So as a play, I feel like more needs to be happening in these 20 pages. And I know, you know, to quote, and I'm not going to give the full quote, but brevity is wit. I feels like it could lose a little more brevity, and more things need to happen in that brevity. I could keep going, but we're on time crunch.
Thanks, Dan. And I'll finish up with the brief thought of my own. I say brief just there, brief thought of my own. The swearing and sort of modern aspects don't really bother me, but they do stick out a little bit. But if it is as big as a problem as it seems to be, like to others more experienced with stage plays than I am, I would say either get rid of that and fix it, quote unquote, or differentiate your play more so that it becomes clear that this is not a one-to-one Shakespearean like homage. So, but yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Sean. Sorry for some of the technical difficulties and mix-ups early on. But I hope the feedback you got helps. And thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for the feedback. So first impressions are sacred. I will leave them be. So I don't have anything particular. But the modernisms were in fact intentional. I did want to create that kind of disjunct on purpose, because when I was reading these plays, it actually leaped to me in so many situations how it did feel very modern. And so I was trying to give that impression of kind of like a no place, no time thing with the most basic plot possible as two neighbors hate each other, and then at the end they just switch places. But yeah, so it is intentional. And I guess I just say is like trying to use that as a tool. The Tiffany problem is a tool more so than as something you're trying to avoid, if that makes sense.
The modern edge sort of reminded me of Preludes by Dave Malloy. It's something where it blends I think the autobiography of Dave Malloy and Rachmaninoff, which those people live decades and decades apart, but it mixed the old and the modern. That's what I thought of when I first saw those details in your script.
Yeah, that's the intent, anyway. But maybe I need to lean into that even more potentially. If I were, I don't know. This is kind of one of those things where I'm like, I'm kind of wondering just how it reads now and looking back on it now and seeing if I can work it into stuff in the future more so than changing anything about it now. But yeah, I also did notice when I was reading those plays a lot that, yeah, not much does seem to happen. And it's why I'm kind of like the whole comedy is that they just switch places. Literally at the end, the name of the town, if you look at the notes, the name of the town is Ankato. And then at the end, he says he's in Katano, which is literally in Greek, upside down town and downside up town. So that's kind of, it's true. It's more of like a farce, right? Anyway, but that's just my few notes.
I have a question for Sean. If I wanted to ask him, who's your favorite character?
Probably Kerukos because he's the one who's simply he's the spirit of concord, like of just always trying to make nice even when the situation shouldn't call for it. And the idea of like shooting and not shooting the messenger and like reading about different people who'd been stuck in that unfortunate position of having to deliver messages. Don't shoot the messenger was actually a very real vocational concern for anybody who had the job. So I just imagined the thoughts of someone who would be setting out at every time to deliver messages between armies, generals, peoples, nations, whatever, and wondering if they were going to get back alive this time, and having to kind of pick whether or not to placate someone or to flatter them or to run away from them. So yeah, that would make my favorite character because I identify the most with that.
Gotcha, cool.
But I was thinking of giving this to my local community theater group that's downtown because I do think that, I don't know, I think that it would work for at least a community theater level play. So I'm contemplating that. But thank you so much for the table read, and I appreciate everybody's contributions.
Thank you for sharing. And yeah, I think it'll be you have to tell me how that goes if you wish. I'm excited to, like you said, if it's meant to be like a comedic farce, then yes, I think it did that great. I really love the dialogue. But yeah, thanks for sharing, Sean. We'll move on to our second script of the night. This is Zara by Pollock. This is a horror slasher feature. Logline is a group of teenagers recklessly awaken a blood-starved vampire who then terrorizes their small town. Feedback we're looking for: this is the first time writing a horror story, so did I at least get the suspense down? Other than that, just general feedback. Content warning for gore, blood, and death. Pollock, I think you don't use your microphone, so if you want to type anything in chat.
I can use my microphone.
Okay, great. Anything to add?
Yeah, be kind to me. It is my first time writing a horror story, and I'm still getting the drift of it.
I will be kind.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. Everyone get that PDF downloaded or click on PDF stream for the script. And I'll start casting characters now.
Oh, how far are we going in the script? But because the first one was pretty long.
That was actually a purchased reading, I believe. But yeah, we're just doing 5 pages of yours. And let's see. Would anyone want to do direction for this script tonight?
Ooh, can I do it?
Well,
Sorry.
there. All right. Anyone for the character Clara? Character Clara.
No, I can do it.
Thank you, Benny.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew.
I'll be Andrew.
Oh, thank you, TJ. Kane. Kane with a K.
I'll be whatever part you want me to.
Oh, Joel, could you please do police officer?
Sure.
Thank you. There's the parts. Wait, why did I... Dang it. It tagged the... Help. There. Sorry about that. It's called Zara-2 for...
Wonderful. I forgot to do preparation.
That's but yeah. But when we get it pulled up, Judea, go when you're ready.
Okay.
You are the god of this world who controls the passage of time.
I hold your lives in my hands. Okay, now I go. Fade in, exterior, old graveyard, night. Mist crawls onto the graveyard ground as a car passes over it, the mist illuminating the car lights. This stops as three obnoxious content creators walk out, their phones already out. Kane, 18, a tall dark-haired man. Andrew, a short redhead man. And last but not least, Clara, a blonde woman wearing a pink sweater but short skirt, a ponytail, and glasses, looking nervous and out of place, as if she were the pretty nice girl that was just asked to tag along for the hell of it. Enter the graveyard, passing their phones over the old tombstones.
So this is it. The old graveyard.
Looks spooky.
Let the zombie all come to. Let the zombies all come to your friends. Hiya!
He mimics a zombie and attempts to eat Clara.
Ew, no! Get off me. I don't want your saliva on my neck.
Yeah, Sarah, it's just a joke.
A very bad one. You know I don't like zombies.
Yeah, because who like daddies? Oh, necrophilias do, and they are gross.
Oh, grow up.
Yeah, man, a graveyard is the last place you want to be talking about zombies and shit.
Saying that with grave robbing, I figured I would set the tone.
You do realize what we're about to do is hella illegal, right?
But we'll get the bills.
Kane smiles, then as he phone light falls onto a particularly expensive-looking tombstone featuring an angel with a cross and a large stake. Embezzled within is Tara Thompson, 1980 to 1998.
Yo, check this one. We got ourselves a late Gen Xer. What's that inscribed on her tombstone? Buried with chains, do not disturb? Ooh, spooky. Definitely disturbing her now. Give me the shovel.
Andrew hands him the shovel he had been carrying the entire time. Kane starts digging.
I don't know, guys. What if somebody sees us?
Okay, the camera rolling. Roll the babe.
I am not your babe, but sure.
They continue digging while Clara looks around anxiously. There's no one around except the mist. As she does so, Andrew takes out a switchblade and casually flicks it up and down.
Stop that. You could hurt yourself.
Relax, Sarah. I know what I'm doing.
Still, it looks sharp.
It's a fish bait. Of course, it's sharp.
Eventually, Kane's shovel hits something solid.
Hey, I think we got something.
He dusts off the dirt to reveal a chained-up coffin. The chains are rusted and old.
What the fuck? Who would chain up a bloody coffin?
It's so cool!
Guys, I don't think...
Too late, as Kane has already broken the severely rusted chains with the shovel and is opening the coffin, revealing Tara Thompson, looking perfectly preserved and fresh despite being dead for so long. Kane and everyone else is stunned by how fresh the corpse is.
Okay, now I know how necrophilia to build, and that's not make me trouble, but damn that corset off.
The hair on the back of Clara's neck stiffens.
Guys, I think we should go. No corpse is that good looking after a few decades. Something isn't right.
Oh, relax. Look.
Kane puts his entire arm by the corpse's mouth.
See? Nothing.
He laughs and continues to tease the guys. We see a hand twitch underneath.
See? See? It's just an unusually fresh corpse.
He laughs and backs away from the corpse. As he does so, we see another twitch from the fingers as the mouth opens ever so slightly.
Alright, fine. Just stop what you're doing, alright?
Kane smiles and reaches his hand down one more time.
Ooh, looky, vampire, fresh blood for you. Look at the fresh blood. You must be starving.
Just as Zara chomps down his arm with the fervor of a starved tiger, he screams in both terror and pain. Clara and Andrew scream as well as the corpse tears Kane's arm off, spits it out, and starts rising from her grave. Clara and Andrew don't wait. They just run straight to the car.
Wait, no, please!
They hear a scream from Kane as he is dragged into the coffin, but they don't care as they get into the car and start racing off. Interior car, night. Clara's driving.
What the fuck was that? What the actual fuck was that?
That was.
Don't say vampire. If you say vampire, I swear to God, I will flip this car.
That must have been such a prank. Had to happen.
Yes, because Kane found a way to detach his own arm. Get real, Andrew.
Oh, I would be, but think about that. But the logical explanation is that we woke up a real motherfucking vampire.
Fuck my life.
They hear sirens erupt behind them.
Fuck my life!
She pulls over hastily as a young police officer walks out, shining his flashlight into the car. He taps onto the window. Clara nervously pulls it down.
Yes, officer?
Are you aware of how fast you were driving back there?
Point of view, vampire vision. Watching the car and the officer through the woods. Blood systems of Clara, Andrew, and the police officer are visible. Clara's heart hammers like crazy.
Sorry, officer. Didn't realize there was a speed limit.
There is. You passed it on your way here.
Right, just give me the ticket.
If you say.
Clara waits impatiently.
We'll just stop here. There's not really a good slug line to break off of in the next page. But yeah. So thank you all for reading. You all did a very good job. Thanks for reading direction. And we'll start with the feedback now. We look back at the feedback requests.
Feedback, we've got a lot of feedback, a lot of background noise from your mic. If you wouldn't mind muting for the time being, please pull it.
Apollo, can you hear us? Hang on, I'm gonna server mute you. Back we're looking for, this is the first time writing a horror story, so did I at least get the suspense down? Other than that, just general feedback. Right. So maybe I can start with the top this time. Dan, did you have any feedback?
Yeah, I guess I could say that it's a little bit, some of the descriptions are a little long. Like, let's say the opening description, you could have cut that opening to the first page. That could have probably been cut because it's like 10 lines long. You probably could have found a place to, first of all, that needs a little bit more periods because it's full of commas. And you could have just you could press the enter bar to let the description and the action lines breathe. And some of the lines were a little like, I heard some hellos and that was like, oh boy, Gen Xer stuff. I don't know. It just sounds very, how do you do, fellow kidsy-ish in the way its dialogue comes across. But, well, it has potential. I was definitely double taking when there was a zombie out, when the coffin was brought into this. I was like, okay, now there's I'm doing a double take. So that was good. I'll let others have some time to talk now.
Thanks, Dan. Hida, did you have any feedback?
Yeah, this was fun. It moves quick. I assume this might be like the opening of a horror, right? Before the title sequence. You play it well. The one part that I really enjoyed was how you build up to Zara waking up and you slowly with a finger and then the mouth slowly opening. I really enjoyed that. I don't know why they would leave their friend, but I don't know if they're friends. But I can't see why they would leave Kane like that, you know? And I thought Andrew was going to do something since you were setting up the switchblade. But yeah, it has a bit of a Scooby-Doo vibe, but a bit more gory. Kane 18, a tall, dark-haired man. For some reason, just don't see 18 being still called a man. That's a little nitpick. But other than that, I do like the imagery of a chained coffin. I thought this was such a crazy joke, but I like it. Okay, now I know how a necrophiliac feels, and that's not making me comfortable. But damn, that corpse is hot. Like it's I like that one. As crazy as it sounds. And yeah, you build it up, but it was that one part where why would they leave Kane like that? You know, I know they're scared and everything, but still, I thought that was a bit fucked up unless that's how these characters are. But other than that, yeah, you're on your way. Just yeah, it's a good start. It's a good 5 pages. Gets you interested.
Thanks, Heated. Jill, did you have any feedback?
Yeah, as he was saying, it got me excited, and I got completely lost in the script and went over 5 pages. Yeah, horror generally isn't my kind of genre, but it intrigued me, and it went in a direction I wasn't expecting. And as he was saying, this sort of necrophile, that line was creepy, but somehow enjoyable. And yeah, it sounds good. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Joel. Jadea, any feedback?
I typed it all. It's fragmented though. I'm sorry. I'll read it out loud.
Do you want me to get it, or do you want to do it?
I'll do it. I'll do it. Can we describe the arm getting torn off a bit more to set a horror tone? Just more visceral description, not too long. Also, maybe give Andrew his shovel during his character description instead of saying he had it the whole time. I love the dialogue, honestly. It was super fun, felt campy, but not like egregiously so. The necro joke was fucked up, but it was funny. Can't hate. And that's what I said. But I did really enjoy it, and I thought it was super funny. And just like, I love the characters' dialogue because they seem so upbeat and shit. Like, I just thought they seemed so very animated, not like literally, but like animated dialogue, I suppose, if that is understandable, like at all. Just felt very lively, I guess. I did think that descriptions ran a little too long, just a bit too long, especially the first one, yes. And it could be cut down by like a lot, or at least spaced out a little more than it was. In any case, continue digging. I'm just get back to me eventually. I'm gonna try reading through this again.
All right. Well, thanks, Jadea. Oh,
yeah.
Thank you. League, did you have any feedback?
Just a little bit. I also really enjoyed the piece. It was very engaging and funny. I just wanted to note that at least me personally, like I would not like the main characters, or at least the main characters that are presented in this first 5 pages. Like I would be rooting for them to fail during their time on screen, and I think that's just something you should be aware of, because they just seem like not chill people and maybe that's something you can develop like during the script, because this is, like I said, just the first 5 pages, so I don't really know what it's like for the rest of the script. But like during these first 5 pages, it, like for me as a reader, like sets up like, yeah, these people kind of suck and you're gonna want them to get murdered by the bad guy and stuff, you know.
Thanks, League. Saturn the Writer says, now I do appreciate that this was your first sort of go at writing, if I remember you saying correctly, and it was Pollock's first try at a horror script, I believe. Yes, first time writing a horror story. Also, let me try unmuting you, Pollock. Have you muted yourself? No, you have not. Back to the comment. This was your first go at writing, if I remember you saying that correctly. But I do think the writing itself could definitely do with some improvement. Lots of chunky action lines that could have been broken up with some white space in between. There was also objects introduced, shovel, out of nowhere, which should have been definitely shown in its first introduction. There's a few other things with the writing, but one good note is that your voice as a writer is clear. Granted, I think there should be some restraint since it can go into some unfilmable territory. But there were also things like with how you introduce the characters, particularly Clara and her looks. It's a thing I do get annoyed seeing myself in scripts, but you don't need to tell us that they look pretty. Unless it's important to the narrative, because in a really cynical way, it's Hollywood. They will be regardless. But I think with the dialogue, I'm not personally a fan of it, but since it's a slasher, I understand the cheesy campiness of it. Anyway, the setup itself seems interesting, though. Can't say I feel the suspense yet, but I'm sure you can build it up throughout the script. Thanks, Saturn. And, let's see... Merrickson, do you have any feedback?
Yes, I do. I remember I gave you feedback for this before, Pollock, and I think maybe you made some changes to it. I think the pacing is a little better this time. I do agree with what's been said, what Saturn said, how it feels like you need to hone in on some of the beats. I get the direction, like I can see this like cinematically, like what you're trying to have the audience picture. These I guess 3 troublemakers, whatever, social media influencers, YouTubers, whatever. They're grave robbing, and they robbed the wrong grave basically, and now there's, I don't know, this ancient evil is after them. And I can follow that definitely, but on the page I think you got to make it clearer, because that's where we're going to draw most of the story from. People who aren't familiar with that many horror movies will definitely rely on what's on the page. So yeah, I think you gotta hit those beats. Like what's been said, the shovel kind of appears out of nowhere. And then if you look on the page when the cop shows up, they don't even pull over. So you need to hit those beats, dude. Another thing that I caught was he just started digging, and immediately it's like, what did they actually dig up? So just little things like that could easily be tweaked and improved. And maybe the coffin was already out. There's ways to fix it. It's just you got to really think it through. Follow the beats of the story. Follow the logic in the world. Where you have expensive looking, you could just put ornate, like an ornate tombstone or something, and it's a lot more concise. And then other thing. Reckless abandon, she's speeding or something. But yeah, I think that's it. I can definitely follow this, but just follow those beats. Just get those beats down. Make sure that every moment makes sense as you're going along. That's it.
Thanks, Merrickson. Morgana, did you have any feedback?
I would agree with people that this was a pretty easy read, which is always good. Went fast, which I think is a indication of that it's fun or entertaining at the very least. As others said, there are a lot of run-on sentences, which, especially the first action line, needs to be reworked a lot. The descriptions are not very descriptive, in my opinion. Like, they're physically descriptive, but they're not telling you anything about the character. Like a blonde woman wearing a pink sweater, short skirt, a pony. That's a long run-on sentence, first of all. And it's not really like, what's her personality? It's just physical. Unless it's important, those characteristics, they're not really relevant. The characters, and I guess this is intentional, are stupid. Like they're saying, "Oh, this is illegal, hella illegal," while they're saying each other's names and recording it. It's, I don't know, 18-year-olds. I deal with them occasionally. They're not. I don't think they're that stupid, but I guess that's the funny thing about the script. There's some grammatical errors a few times. But like I said, it's entertaining, and I think for a first attempt, that is, yes, people can be that stupid. Logan Paul, right? Yeah, you're right. That's a good point, Zanya. People are stupid and also that like inconsiderate. So yeah, especially at that age. No offense, too. It's not like I'm that far away from that age myself. But yeah, as I said, it's entertaining, and for a first attempt, that's a good start. So you're on the right track, and that's what matters. Just gotta edit a few things and cut things down. Sorry, lasagna.
Thanks, Morgana. Nacho, did you have any feedback?
Yeah. So, Pollock, I've had a chance to read, a few different scripts of yours, and I have to say, like, I really like this. I felt like it's great to see your progress. I think this is the strongest script of yours that I've read so far. I agree. Other people brought up there are a lot of things that you can sort of tweak in terms of like the descriptions and just kind of taking your time with the important beats, right, in the scene. But the scene itself works. Like the concept makes sense to me. There is somebody who is like these kind of whatever influencers who are like annoying, and we're kind of, in a way, it's sort of like a horror comedy or like a dark comedy where we almost like rooting for the killer, and like it just, the whole concept of the scene is great. It really works for me. I think you're on the right track. I would just kind of just the same thing for the kind of solution for everything is go back and just download a bunch of scripts from the blacklist, especially look at some horror and horror comedies and stuff, and just kind of look at how people sort of describe things. The opening, yes, others have mentioned it's a big block of text, and it's like you want to try to think about what's a script or a movie that has the tone that I'm trying to convey, and just kind of look and see how a pro writer conveys that tone. And you're kind of getting there. It's just like, taking your time with the kind of creepy moments and maybe, breaking out, these big blocks of text. And so, there's some details that we don't need, and there's some details that are missing that could help the reader, picture the stuff that's happening. But I think, it's great to see your writing, develop. I think you're on the right track with this. And just in terms of the dialogue, there's a couple things you can do. Like, one is try to really like give Kane, Clara, and Andrew like different, really maybe a particular influencer and the way that they talk, and think about, okay, this is this model for this character's like speech patterns, right? Or it could be, someone in real life or something, or some actor, but, just try to really differentiate them a little bit and try to think about, I think I wouldn't worry too much until you kind of have the whole story, like, your draft completed, and then you're going to go back and like polish stuff. But just in terms of the scene itself, like, I think this is a really cool concept. And just, yeah, again, like, just maybe have a pro script open while you're working. You can kind of see like how, other horror writers may do this or that. But I really, yeah, great job, Pollock, and look forward to reading more.
Thanks, Nacho. On to Benny. Loved your acting as always. Did you have any feedback for the script?
Thank you. I thought it was really funny. I could actually picture a lot with this, which I think is really good. So I think it has good imagery. But yeah, like what everybody else said, they know more about formatting than me. So tweaking those things and breaking up the text, I think will really make your work shine more. So yeah, I liked it.
Thank you, Nambari. And Saturn, did you seafood? Did you have any feedback? Seafood.
Seafood was
Yes,
tight.
please. Oh, look. Seafood says, I have no criticism writing-wise, but I guess personally for me, I'm having slight trouble envisioning the vibe of the graveyard. I think it might be fun to mention some evidence of superstitious customs beyond buried with chains beware to communicate the dangerous air. Although Miss Thompson was buried in the late 90s, so maybe that wouldn't make sense. Thanks, Seafood. Sean, did you have any feedback?
Oh, sorry.
Wait, no. What were you going to say?
Maybe the characters, like while they're recording, they do storytelling or something, just like this graveyard was made in this time and there's been ghost sightings or some shit, because it sounds like they're like, recording, they're being entertaining, so maybe they try to make up this narrative or some shit like all those ghost hunting YouTubers do.
Maybe so. I think that's a good idea. Thanks, Jadea. Let's see. Sean, did you have any feedback?
Well, I always find it one of the most interesting exercises in horror movies to make the first victims as unlikable as possible in the first 5 minutes. It's like a race to the bottom, in a way, right? So in that sense, that beats hit very well. It's interesting because, like, I actually worked in the funeral business for a brief period of time. So the thing about grave digging is that you would actually hit concrete first. If we're talking about pure logic, right? You'd hit concrete first because otherwise, the groundwater gets contaminated. So they actually have to line the entire burial space on concrete now. Anyway, but this is presumably an older thing. Yeah, not a whole lot of particular notes, in that I think that the action is maybe a few too many details that we don't really need right now to get where we're going in the story. And there's a way to condense this, I think, down. But no detailed story notes in particular, mostly because I just don't know what the second act is, or even the end of the first act. So, yeah, that's basically my biggest note, is you're going to have to condense it down. I think actually in some ways you could make the gravediggers more unlikable, because that's kind of the fun part, isn't it? I don't know if people don't respond or in these or not. This is my first one, but
Yeah, I just kind of monologue. As you said, first impressions are sacred.
yeah, sorry. I guess what I'm just asking is, where's the hook that makes this not just hit the beats of a horror movie, but also give it a different flavor, right? And I guess I'm not necessarily seeing that quite yet, but definitely the beats are being hit. I just wondering is, like, what part of it can you add to put it just a step beyond that, right? Anyway, I'm sorry. These are really bad notes. I apologize. But I'd have to really think about it hard before I actually gave a full critique. But yeah, those are just the things that stood out to me.
Thanks, Sean. And don't worry, most of the time I just like slur through 2 or 3 sentences as feedback, and no one's gotten angry with me yet. Pollock, I'm gonna check one more time if you've muted your mic. Nope. Can you hear us, Pollock?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Can you mute your mic? Oh, thank you. All right. Taste of Sorrow, did you have any feedback? Taste of Sorrow. Let's see. TJ, did you have any feedback? Wait.
Just saying, Taste of Sorrow is still asthma attack.
Oh, yeah. Aw. Hope that gets... I don't know. I don't understand asthma, but I hope it gets better soon.
Oh, well, something just hit me while looking in at one particular part where, the necroheliac part, actually. I feel like that goes by too fast. I think that there should be a build-up where basically they start doing more or less like more and more irresponsible stuff with the corpse. I feel like that's one of the things where horror films tend to show creativity is like, how douchebaggy do they get? Like, and we know that someone's going to bite the arm, right? We enter into that expectation, but they kind of like play with the anticipation of it a little bit by like having people do ridiculous stuff that's more and more ludicrous to kind of before it happens, and then the trap sort of slams shut at a point they're not expecting, and that's kind of the thing that they're basically. We know that the arm is going to get bitten by the corpse, right? This is like predestination. It's like water's wet, rain's gonna fall, arm's gonna get bit. But like when, how, and the timing of that is really what's going to make people feel that sense of exhilaration, right? Where you kind of play with those expectations a little bit before you fulfill them. Does that make sense?
Alec is typing a response. Yes. Thank you, Sean. Let's see. TJ, did you have any feedback?
Yes, I do. I really like the idea of these cringy content creators that like teenagers. That is fun. And honestly, I had a fun time playing as one there, but like maybe you could like incorporate like the more cringiness up into it. Maybe like watch some VAM videos. Like watch J Station, watch Arcade Claniacs. Those type of fields could lead perfection into the script. Because like there was like a horror film like called Spree, but that focused on like a content creator, and honestly, that was like it. And like I think the people who did that film watched like cringy YouTube compilations. I can't pick words, but honestly, I think if you watch some of these cringy YouTubers, VAM videos, and like maybe for like, what's up guys? Today we at the graveyard. That could make it even more fun.
What's up, guys? Coming to you live from Arlington National Cemetery. Yeah, that'd be awesome. That sounds great.
I will have them have their own special intro, like, "What's up, Grave Nation?"
Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe if you. Yeah, like you always have to put the ad revenue part first, right? You could even have an ad spot if you really wanted to go that far with it.
Yeah, play with the setup. I tell you, it's so funny. Make sure you murder that like button.
And put a skeleton next to your next comment.
Oh my god.
99% of people haven't subscribed to the channel who watch this video.
Brought to you by
and subscribe.
Brought to you by Tony Box's Bagel and Locks, the best schmear shop here in New Jersey.
Okay. We're dicking around, but like Saturn just said something really funny.
Let's predict a 5K likes to eat my mum's ashes. Oh no.
So it'd be hard to put a box.
That's true. I packed those urns. So it is very true. They put the urn. Well, sometimes no. It really does depend. So I actually think there's enough leeway here to just go straight for the ashes. As weird as that sounds, because sometimes there's the tendency that you have to fit the whole person in, and sometimes if you like to put in the bag as well, but other times you have to actually like fit it in there and really cram it in there. It's really unpleasant. But yeah, I think it's fine. You don't always have the bag in there. It depends on how much person there is to put in and how little space there is in the air. Like, yeah.
So if I wanted to be a snow globe when I'm dead, like, how big would the snow globe be?
There is a local artist at the funeral home that we worked at who would work the cremated remains into glass sculpture, like particulate dust along with sand and stuff like that. Crazy overpriced, but you'd be surprised. I'm still getting over that job. That was very traumatic. Anyway,
so metal, though.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway,
man, that's sort of. Hey, and we need to get Willow's feedback if she has any. Go, Willow. Take us away from this talk of death.
I was enjoying it. I thought it was hilarious, and yeah, absolutely, I agree with the lean into the content creators kind of stuff. That's really funny. But something I was going to mention is like when you have really long action descriptions, it slows down the pace, and so the tension goes down. When you have short, choppy sentences, then the tension goes up. So that may be one thing you adjust your sentence length based on kind of the mood that you want to go for. And another thought I had is the final attack was very much predictable. Putting the hand for her to bite, and well, of course she came alive, and that was very predictable. Perhaps have them doing something else. It's like, okay, they played this joke, nothing happened, and they move on to something else with their backs turned, or perhaps that is something else to they can be doing something else while as they're getting attacked or right before. So those were my thoughts, but an enjoyable thing. I think it's pretty good for a first time horror. It's a good try. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Willow. And yeah, I don't have much to say there. People haven't, and horror is not a strong suit for me, but it seems like spooky fun so far. But yeah, just still the dialogue. Definitely maybe even just observe first, because clearly we hear people talk all the time. But like listen to conversations in movies, TV shows, and real life like mindfully, instead of just like letting it pass by as we usually would. That's how I try to get better at dialogue. And I find that just hearing the natural beats and pauses and what was it? Not dialect. I'll think of the word later. Inflections. Even just hearing the natural stuff, it can help you write the more weirdly coincidental, like high tempo, here, there, everywhere, witty banter. But yeah, But I guess that's as easy as just telling an artist to look at things before they write or draw things. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Pollock.
In terms of so just adding to help with dialogue. So like what I always do is I think about the person I know closest to the character, like in terms of personality, and I think, okay, if this real life person, you know, that I know from real life, if they were in the situation, what would they say? And that's what I do with my characters. All of my characters are based off of real life people, and just use what I would think they say. Yeah. I hope that made sense.
If I may interject a little bit with some dialogue advice, I do have an exercise that's really good for. Actually, the thing about dialogue is that it's not natural at all. And we do hear people talk all the time, but I think that there is an impression to be made about how little dialogue resembles the way we talk in real life. So what my playwriting workshop, and I'd only advise doing this once because it is an extreme, like one of those things that you learn at once and you just do it for a very short time. But they gave us permission, and to go out and eavesdrop on one conversation and write down exactly what we heard. And what we found out, all of us came back and shared our findings, and we found out that all of these things on paper were completely incomprehensible, right? There's so much that's communicated in other ways that we have to create through dialogue, right? So dialogue is a very unnatural thing, actually. One of the first things that in Aristotle's Poetics that he mentions is he says that we have this strange process of recreating scenes in real time, where we actually have someone stand in someone's place and put words in their mouth, right? And they repeat the words as if they're going through the process or the scene for the first time, right? As opposed to, Aristotle brought up the point is like, why wouldn't you just hand someone the summary and then get it over with, basically? And that's called mimesis. And his point was just basically to say that you are arranging words in the same way that you're arranging like a bouquet of flowers, right? For composition, style, and poise. So if you do that exercise to just eavesdrop on any conversation and try and be the stenographer for a brief period of time, and then just notice how aimless, rambling, and basically useless for a script it is, then it'll definitely give you the sort of feeling that you're going to have to create something artificial in order to make it sound more natural, if that makes sense, right? You're going to have to structure it.
I also have dialogue tip thing. I recently downloaded this thing from Glitch Text in which they teach you how to do some stuff. I don't know. One of them was dialogue focused, and it was pretty simple thing. You get started with how to write dialogue, which is you just take a line and then you keep writing that line over and over again in different styles until you land on one you like, basically. For the character, at least. You just write it in different ways, like hello everyone to howdy y'all to greetings to all that stuff. You just write different things for each one, and it might take a bit. And but I feel like it'll get you started, and you'll eventually get used to how this character talks, and then you'll just naturally do it. That's what I think would happen. I want to try it out myself. So I don't know.
That's good advice. There's a writer who, I don't know, we say later now, and it's because a journalist or writer actually had the process where he would try and pare down every line of dialogue as much as he could. And then he found out that later was the shortest way to tell someone that you would see them at a different date. right? And he just basically boiled it down to that one word.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh. Anyway, yeah, that's like my advice, and hopefully it'll help you with dialogue or anyone else with dialogue, because I don't know. I might send that glitch texting again. I sent an animation chat like one time. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good read.
Thanks, Judea. And yeah, thank you all for your feedback. Thank you, Pollock, for sharing. Hope some of that feedback helps. Yeah, let's move on to the last script of the night. Ba-da-ba-dum. Where did our person go? Did League leave a message saying they were going? Everyone tag them.
No, don't everyone tag them.
Everyone tag
Now
them.
that get annoying.
Joel and me tag them. In their cool oceanic themed name.
I could get a PDF to tag them as well.
One
The
good way to
jerks
think of
do I
dialogue
call?
is to imagine this is your chance to say that comeback you came up with. Trying to think of like awesome, weird insults. I think one of the most cutting insults I've ever told. Well, I didn't tell them. I said it of some celebrity. That their voice sounds how a tennis ball looks. Hello, League. We're on to your script. You ready to read it?
What does that mean?
Yeah,
It sounds like
There's a really
my power went out for like a
my
minute,
voice is
so
so
my Wi-Fi disconnected.
somebody's voice is sickly green and fuzzy.
Yes.
So
Anyway, we're reading.
The Succession writers actually say that every insult has to say as much about the person saying it as it does about the person they're saying it to. So there's a really good one. There's actually a really good one in Jobs where he's like Steve Jobs is trying to get one of his engineers to get a MacBook Pro or something, an early Mac to say hello. And then he goes like, the universe was created in 7 days and 7 nights, and you're telling me that you need to spend 3 weeks to get this thing to say hello. And then his engineer responds, well, no, what is it? The universe was created in 7 days and 7 nights. And his engineer responds, well, you'll have to tell us later on, you'll have to tell us how you did it, right? Basically saying like Jobs thinks of himself as God, right? But that kind of like manages to cut pretty nicely. Anyway. And then Veep, if you want to, for insults, Veep is a really, really good show to watch. It's actually pretty much just one big pile of insult humor.
Thank you, Sean. Also, Cyrano de Bergerac. Everyone go watch, or at least read Cyrano de Bergerac when you can. Okay, on to our last script of the night. Esmeralda of the New Era by League Wave Shell. This is a surrealism/fantasy feature. Logline is, while preparing for a wedding to a man she doesn't know, Princess seeks to understand her dreams and feelings before she's out of time. Feedback we're looking for is the dream sequence engaging and interesting. Is the dialogue between characters all right in other scenes? We're going to be reading pages 11 through 15, not the first 5 pages. Anything to add before we start, League?
The only information that I would like to add is that before this scene is established, some things are established. Kellen is the prince that Esmeralda is going to marry, and it's established that Esmeralda only gets like a very small amount of food every year. Those are the only things that are important for that to make this scene make sense, you know.
Thanks, League. Let's see. I'll start casting characters now. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Na-na-na-na. And there's 6 character parts, so we'll see how many we can fill. without doubling over.
How many pages is this? Is it the whole thing? Or just 5?
That we'll be reading?
Yeah.
We're just reading pages 11 through 15.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, starting with casting now. Anyone for the role of Esmeralda?
Me.
Esmeralda, thank you today.
Me. Thank you. Oh, wow, a song.
Oh, wow, what?
A song.
A theme song. Anyone for the character, Kellen? Kellen. That was Kellen's theme song. I have a feeling it's a character we're not supposed to like. Joel. It's either Joel or Morgana. I interrupted one of you. Oh,
Joel, yeah.
Thank you, Joel.
I was saying that his theme song can seem kind of lame in comparison.
Yeah, that was yeah. I think we're not supposed to like Kellen, but maybe I don't know. Maybe I judged him too soon. We'll see. We'll see where my misplaced confidence takes me. Jester, who wants the role of Jester?
I'll be a jester.
Thank you, Willow. Nanny, who wants the role of Nanny?
All right.
Thank you, Morgana. 2 more to go. Edwin. Edwin.
I can do
Who
it.
sounds like... Thank you, Benny. Edwin sounds like he wears an ascot.
Oh, okay.
Possibly like
Sweetie.
white stockings. Is that what they called socks back in the day? Just stockings? I don't know.
Pantaloons. Wear some pantaloons.
Pantaloons, that's right, pantaloons. King. Anyone for the character King?
I'm down for King.
Thank you, Heated. And anyone for reading direction? Would anyone like to read direction?
That was also an option? Dang.
I saved it for last because I wasn't sure, I wasn't sure how many people were going to volunteer.
I like direction. It's fun.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to have to double up, though. I will handle it. All right, there's our cast list. I skimmed over this. There's... I don't understand. I'm not meant to. So I'm very excited to look through it with you guys. Yeah. Sweet leagues. Esmeralda Miller.
Well,
that's how I sound. I sound like an idiot.
Whoa!
I'm sorry. I'll explain. We've been having technical issues on my side for a while, and so the sound drops out on the stream. And because I have 2 PCs, I moved the sound around for that making me heard it. But anyway, sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, I just have a question for League. Is there anything that you want to sort of explain to set up what happened in the previous 10 pages, or should it just kind of stand on its own? It's like a dream sequence, I guess.
I did explain a little bit earlier, but I can re-explain. The only things that you really need to know about the previous scenes to understand what's going on here is that Kellen is the prince that Esmeralda is going to be marrying. And Esmeralda only gets a certain amount of food every year. She got like 6 bites of food this year. That's all she gets.
She's a human being?
Yes.
How
and I can explain some stuff about what this scene represents, but I can do that afterwards, I guess. Or before. I don't know if that would be helpful.
I think I don't know, I think we have enough detail. We're reading out of context stuff on here all the time, so... And Benny says, I mean, it is surreal. That's true. But yeah, I think we'll be fine. Oh, thank you, Joe. I try not to sound like an idiot. It's the least I can do. All right, so the top of page 11. Start with direction. Dream sequence, interior, school gym, night. You see the bottom half of a pair of gym doors for at least 5 to 10 seconds. Silent. Fairy Funeral begins to play in the background by a band with a xylophone, a triangle, and a drum set. Esmeralda's sneakers enter through the gym doors. Esmeralda opens the doors grandly, entering a second time to the viewer, dressed in a pink ethereal dress lit by fairy lights. She glides to Kellen in the middle of the room, passing the band, who has a new set of instruments, and a smug-seeming stranger, Jester. She meets Kellen and puts one hand in his and one on his shoulder. They wait. They waltz.
I didn't expect to see you here.
She shakes her head violently. Bird noises come from her hair.
Well, it was the only place to be.
Jester glares at them over his dark eyeshadow. The couple spins past the man in the band. Esmeralda looks at Jester and back to Kellen, but finds Kellen replaced with Jester.
Is it a nice dance?
Esmeralda scoffs.
It was, before you interrupted. Why are you here too? I didn't invite you.
You need the invite. It's mine.
Mine?
After a turn, Esmeralda is replaced by Kellen. Esmeralda stands next to the band, where Jester was in the beginning. She watches them dance angrily, with the same pose as Jester held. After a moment, she begins to bop her head to the music. She begins spinning rhythmically. The men join her, and they fall into an equidistant formation. They weave in and out of the center slowly, then faster and faster. Cut from Jester's smiling face to Esmeralda's to Kellen's. Zoom into Kellen's face. Interior Esmeralda's room, morning. Esmeralda jolts awake, clutching her head in her stomach. Nanny rushes up to her.
Princess, what's wrong?
Vertigo.
Nanny rubs Esmeralda's back.
It's at that time of the month, isn't it?
I hope Edwin gets here soon.
Her bedroom door slams open and Edwin steps in, dressed in a doctor's scrubs, clown makeup up to his hairline, and a long rainbow wig. He carries a cartoonishly colored cardboard cart. In the cart is a pile of IV bags filled with clear, syrupy liquid.
You called.
Oh, thank you, Edwin.
Oh, sure.
Oh, thank you, Edwin. Not a moment too soon. The stand is right over there.
Ah, yes.
Edwin grabs the IV stand and drags it over beside the bed. He clumsily sets up the IV, juggling the IV bag at some point, making Esmeralda weakly chuckle. Eventually, he sticks the IV in her arm.
There, that should get your blood sugar up.
Esmeralda rises from her bed slowly, still clutching her head.
Thank you, Edwin. I appreciate your dedication to your work.
Of course, Princess. It's an honor to serve the ladies of the nobility.
Edwin looks at his bare wrist like there is a watch.
I've got to get on with my rounds. Syrup day is only once a month, you know.
Edwin turns his cart around and walks out.
A syrup bag right after you had 6 bites yesterday? You must feel stuffed.
Yes, a little, but I sort of like the feeling. It makes me feel strong.
Esmeralda does the strongman pose.
Don't focus on that feeling. No noble woman ever got prettier by feeling strong.
You're right.
There's a short pause.
Well, the feeling will fade in a day or so, and I can go back to practicing proper ladyship.
I should hope so. Now are you done with your Nutri-Syrup?
Esmeralda looks up at the IV bag. It looks like it has been vacuum sealed.
Yep, all done.
Esmeralda yanks the IV out and hops out of bed. She points up and forward with the other hand on her hip and her legs spread.
To breakfast we go.
Are you on some sort of sugar high?
Possibly.
All right. Off to breakfast we go, Princess.
Fade to interior dining hall later. Esmeralda at breakfast table with a plate of food in front of her. Her father, the king, is an imposing large man with such a silhouette that looks like an egg. He is eating a plate of peeled boiled eggs.
Esmeralda, are you ready for the dance tonight?
Esmeralda taps her glass heel upon the stone floor.
Yes, father.
I know this is your first time leaving the kingdom. Just be polite and socialize with Kellen's court. Don't make a fool of yourself.
He inhales a whole egg.
I won't, father. I promise.
Good. Do you have everything prepared?
Yes, Father.
Huh. I'll see you at tomorrow's event.
He puts a whole egg in his mouth. Esmeralda purses her lips. The king's plate is suddenly empty. He stands up and puts his hands on the table.
Well then, goodbye.
He walks out. Nanny scurries over.
Let me get that out of your way, princess.
She places the food on a gold cart and pushes it out of shot.
I'm sure you'll do great tonight. What's next on the agenda?
Esmeralda stands in the same pose as her father was in earlier.
Let's go to brunch. I need to have my own visit with Penelope.
Nanny bows and gestures towards the door.
As you wish, princess.
Esmeralda passes Nanny and goes through the door. Woo! Excellent job reading, everyone. Did a very good job voicing the characters. Judea, you somehow ended up someone else, or reading as someone else who also has a sugar high? What sort of cosmic intervention was that? You ate a honey bun, right?
Oh, yeah, I did.
You were on a sugar high, and now Esmeralda has injected Nutra syrup and 6 bites, and she's on a sugar high?
As it should be. I mean, like, getting syrup injected into your blood might do something to you.
Yeah, I hope Esmeralda's gonna be okay. I hope everyone's gonna be okay. I feel like... I don't know. I feel like the king is somehow malnourished. Like, I don't think eggs have any carbs in them. Yeah. Yeah, they need a nutritionist for sure. Thank you for sharing your script with us, League. We're going to do feedback now. We're looking for, is the dream sequence engaging and interesting? Is the dialogue between characters all right in other scenes? All right. Let's start from the top then again. I wish I could say words effectively. Dan, did you have any feedback?
I'm afraid I missed quite a bit of it because I was working a little bit, but I did remember reading the log line over the log line. So I guess from what I remembered reading about this log line a week or two ago, it seemed like it was interesting, but I feel like it doesn't leave much of a sense of I feel like that log line needs a little more stakes. Unfortunately, I've been kind of running around for the past 10 or so minutes, so I did miss a fair bit of this.
Thanks, Dan. Hida, did you have any feedback?
Yeah. He's asking about the dream sequence. I like dream sequences in movies and screenplays. I know it's frowned upon, but I think they're some of the best scenes because you can really let your imagination go and it doesn't have to make sense, but there's moments of realism, right? But I wonder how this works because it seems they're in modern times when they're in the gym, and then it cuts to, like, I guess, a kingdom. So I wonder how that works. And there's a gesture. I'm kind of confused. It could be like modern, like the monarchy we have, or the patriarchy, I think, in England. But yeah, that's what I'm confused on. But at the same time, I think it's kind of cool. I thought the sequence of her dancing with Kellen, and then she looks, it's the gesture, and there's also, she moves her hair around, and then the sound of birds come out. The bird noises come from her hair. I think all that is really sexy. Like, it looks cool for me. So that whole scene was really cool with the gesture and the dancing at the gym. It gets, I don't know if this is all a dream. That's what I kind of like about it. Like, he comes in with a cartoonish colored cardboard cart, and she's like, she's doing like syrupy heroin inside of her, and it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense. I don't know how to explain it really, but I do enjoy it. Yeah, I think it's a good job. It's a good job. That's all I got.
Is that a tornado warning in the background? Sorry, I heard something and I was just like, is that like a storm warning?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a tornado right now. Sorry
Are
for the
you
noise.
okay? Oh no, it's okay.
I'm good.
Wait, where are you?
I'm in Kansas right now.
It's a twist.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't have any other questions.
That's too stereotypical. I'm sorry.
We're not in Kansas
This
anymore.
better not be heading. This better not be heading east.
I hope
I'm
you
gonna
stay
check my weather to
safe,
be
girl.
safe.
Stay safe.
Yeah. Anyway, you don't seem too concerned. I assume you know what tornadoes do and what Nintendo don't. But Joel, did you have any feedback for the script?
I don't think so, unfortunately. Sorry.
It's okay. Also, I missed the very obvious tornado don't pun. I will never forgive myself. Jadea, did you have any feedback?
Sounded like you said Nintendo.
I did, but what I should have said what tornado do and what Nintendo don't.
It's okay.
Why does anyone
It's
talk to
okay,
me?
Gray.
I'm so upset.
I understood what you meant. That's the important thing.
It's gonna be okay, Gray.
I should quit making light of heated situation anyway. But yeah, Jadea, do you have any feedback?
Hello, I'm Jadea. I have feedback. I liked it a lot. It was very nonsensical. Like, the dream was nonsensical, but then you realize real life is nonsensical too. They got syrup injected in the dream, absurdity in real life. 12 dozen in real life. 12 dozen eggs. Whoa! Anyway. So I enjoyed that, and I feel like maybe the action lines are a bit stiff, but like they're the action lines. You're not gonna see that when it's like made, I guess. But like also, I like it when they read nicely. Edwin looks at his bare wrist like there is a watch. You could just say as if there's a watch, or like there's a watch. I just feel like when sometimes breaking up words may not be the best, and just smush them together. But I liked the dialogue, and I liked the whole triumphant poses Esmeralda makes, where she's just like onward. That's fun. And I feel like you could play on her sugar rush a little more, like it doesn't suddenly disappear. Instead, like maybe she's super antsy during the dinner, she's like moving around or something, and her dad's like, "What are you doing?" or some shit. He's just like, "You're not acting proper." I don't know. I just feel like you could play it up a little bit more. It would be very fun to just see a hyped up Esmeralda since she got syrup injected into her blood. I liked everything. I like Egg Dad. I like Esmeralda. I like the nanny. I like the jester, and I like the doctor. Very cool. I enjoyed myself. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. That's all.
Woo! Thank you, Jadea. Morgana, did you have any feedback? Helped Esmeralda through her vertigo and gave her syrup injection.
Well, I have prior experience with that, so
you helped Edwin give her.
Yeah, at least the syrup part, I'm used to it.
Yeah, if anyone's qualified here, it's you.
Yeah. I'm actually registered. But I thought this was nice. It reminded me so far of a little bit of like The Little Mermaid. Obviously, it's not that, but in terms of her interactions with her, although I guess Ariel was a little more defiant, but just like this whole the princess. Right now she's a bit passive, but I'm expecting that to change. She does have a personality, so that's good, and I expect things will change. I think I don't really have much to say, to be honest, so I'm going to stop rambling and pass it on.
Thanks, Morgana. Nacho, any feedback?
I think there's a lot of cool kind of world building here. It's just, I'm not sure if some of it we got in the, first 10 pages that we're not kind of getting, but it's sort of like, I think you don't really have to like explain everything, but just like some things for clarity need a little bit more setup. Like just to understand, like, I think, dream sequence, school gym night, I guess I would probably like put in somewhere end dream sequence or something, or just make it clear like, hey, this interior Esmeralda's room is like back to normal, I guess. Because it sort of seems like a dream as well, but maybe that's already set up from the opening. I would try to, like, it's totally okay to, just open with like a pair of gym doors. I think just the thing about it just like the very, very specific in like kind of camera directions, like you see the bottom half of a pair of gym doors for at least 5 to 10 seconds silent. I mean, if this is something that you're kind of going to produce yourself or direct yourself, then that's, you can use whatever you want. But like, just if the goal is like having a document that people can read and sort of follow the story and like understand and like that want to keep turning the page, then I would just like that kind of detail is not really important for the read. I would probably just say something like, I think you can sort of, like describe it in a way that we're seeing like kind of what's on the screen. Fairy funeral begins to play in the background by a band with xylophone. So this is like a song. I'm guessing it doesn't, we're not really understanding like what is fairy funeral. It's something in caps. So it sounds like it's introducing characters, but we're not sure, or I guess that's just the sound that makes sense. But like band, Kellen, Jester, like establish that there's a crowd in this thing. It's just setting up the scene geography. Like what does this place look like, right? And so the first, we just see the bottom half of a pair of gym doors. Like we want to, like, I'm not sure exactly why we're looking at this, unless I think the idea is to set up Esmeralda's sneakers entering. I think even if you cut that whole first paragraph and you just said Esmeralda's sneakers, enter through the gym doors, just by saying Esmeralda's sneakers, you're already controlling the camera. That is a very tight shot just on her sneakers. So you're already saying like, we just see the doors, just that little section of the doors, right? So you can kind of control the camera by just, saying what is on screen, and you can have a very wide shot, or a very small shot, whatever. I mean, a very tight close up, just by, what you're describing. A hand, grabs an apple, like that's a very close shot, right? I think at some point, maybe after her sneakers enter, we need to kind of understand like there is a crowd in this, or who is here. Like it just, you mentioned about a band, but do we see the band? Like, just, you need to like introduce like what we're seeing. And I think you could just start with the sneakers, then, just general smaller details. It's not really that big, but just helps the read kind of flow better. I think there's a couple sentences that were a little confusing to read. So Esmeralda looks at Jester, back to Kellen, but finds Kellen replaced with Jester. I think just in general, like maybe, when we're seeing like kind of a new shot or something, like bring it down to a new line, right? So now, I don't know if it's that important that she looks at Jester and back or whatever, like those kind of details, but you could just say something like, Esmeralda turns to Kellen. Now it's no longer Kellen, it is Jester or something, right? And anyways, there, like other parts that I would kind of generally look for your really long sentences, try to break them up. and like you have the men join her and they fall into an equidistant formation. Just a lot of these just kind of bring them down to a new paragraph, and try to avoid things like, like her bedroom door slams open and Edwin steps in dressed in a doctor's scrubs, clown makeup to his hairline, and a long rainbow wig. This is kind of a long sentence. You can just sort of like, bang, the bedroom door slams open, period. Edwin, like, prances in, dress, whatever. Like you can sort of like break up long sentences into shorter ones and try to find stronger verbs, break up your paragraphs into like more paragraphs. So each time you're moving the tripod, just think about like that's going to be a new paragraph, right? You can have really long paragraphs in screenplays. There's not really a rule about it, but the longer it is, like the more it has to like really blow away the reader. Otherwise, they're going to sort of feel like this is kind of just a big giant block of action that's with lots of long sentences. So it's easier to pull off with just shorter sentences. I guess I didn't understand the part about the syrup bag after 6 bites. I can understand he's giving her syrup, but the part about the bites just wasn't clear. Like, was she bitten 6 times by someone? Did she have 6 bites of some kind of food? Or, it just, for me, it was confusion that made me go back and reread to try to understand like what the nanny is saying. Esmeralda does the strongman pose. I don't understand what that means. Esmeralda purses her lips. I guess this is kind of meant to show, I think it's really good to show your main character's emotional reaction through like, maybe she rolls her eyes or she does this or that. This is great, but I don't understand what, like if she's pursing her lips, is that meant to be just sort of a reaction to the egg? Or, like I would try to find stronger choices for these kinds of lines to just have Esmeralda like help us. Esmeralda's reaction is like helping us understand how we should react, right? Because we're inside Esmeralda's head in this scene. So yeah, just maybe go back and kind of try to look at ways to track Esmeralda's emotional state as she's like reacting to all this stuff, so that we can sort of like, process it, right? A lot of it is just very clinical. Like Esmeralda stands next to the band. She watches them dance. I think angrily, maybe that's Esmeralda's emotion, but I'm not sure if that's like their dancing is angry, So like just Esmeralda scoffs is great. Like that's good, but just try to maybe put in a little bit more just to kind of help us clue us into like how we're meant to interpret what's happening around Esmeralda. And I really like, I think the thing about the syrup and stuff, like it's not exactly easy to understand, but it's a really cool detail. Like I like that it's this weird world where they've got this syrup or something. So I don't know. It's really interesting. So I'm interested to read more. So yeah.
Thank you, Nacho. Saturn the writer says, I can't say that this is really my kind of thing, although I am quite a fan of surrealism. Love that shit, but that's besides the point. I feel while you are trying to capture the surrealist aesthetic, some of the lines are written in a confusing manner and weren't quite clear to picture for me. But combined with surrealism, it doesn't help. Take, for example, some of the directing on page 11. It was referred to in second person, which definitely feels off, but I would just stick to saying we rather than you. This is more of a nitpick, so if anyone does concur, that would be glad to hear. I think the dialogue works well as it is, and I don't think I had anything else to really say about it for now. But yeah, as I said, don't think this is really my thing anyway, but I think if you improve on the writing, it could be much more clear what you are trying to do. Thank you, Saturn. Who was next? Benny, do you have any feedback?
Yes, and I was looking at the feedback question, which was, is the dream sequence engaging and interesting? I actually found her waking up and talking to her father and all that more engaging. So I think when you take all of the advice that other people told you to help tweak the dream sequence, it can be just as engaging and fun as when she wakes up. And the dialogue, yeah, I think it does have to be less confusing for like us to really capture what's going on. But at the same time, yeah, this is from page 11 to 15, so maybe I'm off. I don't know, but I do like the idea, and it does kind of remind me of like a Alice in Wonderland trippy like type of thing. So I see what you're going for.
Thank you, Benny. Pollock, did you have any feedback? You want to type anything you do have, I can read it out later. Saturn, already went. Seafood, did you have any feedback? It's like Pollock is typing. Seafood says no feedback. Pollock says no feedback. Willow, did you have any feedback? Our most revered taco.
I'm still Willow. Yeah, I actually do have something on a bit of a different note. So I'm not certain that your intentions are what your intentions are with the whole food thing, but it is running very much close into disability representation. And that being so, even though it may be a fictional world with fictional physics, having certain things, especially when like the average person may not know the difference, that is kind of where people make assumptions about reality based on fictional material. So so it's something I think to be very careful of, even though it may not be your intentions whatsoever. The feeding thing is very much reminiscent of someone who gets their nourishment through a feeding tube. And this is not as uncommon as think. Yes, people can go their whole lives without eating. But it's not done through IVs. I do believe IVs are just like salt water, saline water, something, and it's more for hydration. Feeding tubes are more tubes that go directly into the stomach, and you use a syringe to basically push food through a tube. And that may not be what you want or where you are going with this. And of course, there are multiple ways of such feedings. But it is not done through an IV at all. And so just beware that regardless of what your intentions are, of what a misconstrued message might be.
Thanks, Willow. And yeah, I might pass on feedback generally because most of the stuff I was going to say has been covered. I do enjoy it though. I do like surrealism. As I said in the chat here, I am very slow to question things, which most of the times doesn't serve me well, but like when it comes to appreciating surrealist stuff, it's great. I can just pop around and have a good time. So yeah, thank you all for your feedback, and thank you, Leek, for sharing. I hope some of the feedback helps. And that brings us to the conclusion of our event here on ScriptCamp. You scroll all the way up, look at the event roster. We have so many events now. We have Fantasy Workshop in 13 minutes, in fact. Writer's Room happens every day. Animation Writers Group tomorrow. Script Swap Tuesday. Horror Workshop Tuesday. Then there's also a Wednesday Script Swap, as opposed to a standard script. Oh no, Tuesday. They've duplicated. There's a How to Sell Your Movie Idea free class on the 12th. Wow. And Sci-Fi Writers Group Friday. When is Romance Writers Group?
On the stream, you will notice
Saturday is at 6 p.m.
Okay, yes. I believe
the times shown on stream are in British time.
Are there still two different disabled writers groups still?
No,
Or is it
just
merged?
Just one group. Saturday 8 a.m. Pacific.
8 a.m. Pacific.
Oh, okay, yes.
8
But
a.m.
yeah.
Pacific and 4 p.m. British, 11 a.m. Eastern on Saturdays. And we will
And
be
does
on
it still
WordCamp next
alternate
time.
servers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So WordCamp next time.
Okay. Sweet. Today it says they're always duplicated, great. We used to only have script swaps on Tuesdays, though, right?
Used to,
And they
ages ago.
came up with this newfangled day called Wednesday, and now there's 7 days in a week, and I gotta plan my stupid life. Just start complaining about just time in general. Yesterday, before you were even born. But yeah. Where's my table reads blurb? Table reads blurb. There it is. You can submit your 5-page submission for free. You can drop 100 script coins on a full-length reading. And so yeah, give it. I'm not asking politely. Give it. Give me the scripts. I am asking politely. If you have anything, what was that?
I won't ask you again. Give it.
This is not a request. Yeah, if you have anything you want us to look at, please do consider submitting. I love seeing all the different types of writing you guys offer and all the interesting feedback you give. I might submit something soon. I'm gonna put in the feedback section, just hurt my feelings. You know? It's the most stinging feedback that like gives you the most. But yeah. Bottom line, submit those scripts. But yeah. Again, thank you all for attending this event. It means a lot to me. I hope you guys all have as much fun as I do. But I will see you guys next time. Have a good night.
See you guys.
Night.